So back in the afternoon on day one of NICC 2023 in Montreal, and sitting down again with Marc Lipman, who is the president of Lloyd's Canada. Marc, we were here a year ago.
Sure.
We were in Halifax talking about what the industry was doing. So it gives us a neat way to sort of review a year later. Where are things for you in Lloyd's, and what do you see going on in the industry? What's exciting you, and what's fun?
Well, so great to be back. Thank you for inviting me back. I guess I wasn't too horrible.
No, easy guess. I like the easy ones.
There's lots going on, right?
Yeah.
Like that's an easy question. We could fill a lot longer than a normal podcast with what's going on. But for Lloyd's, it's one of those rare occasions where it's all good news, right? Results in Canada are strong. Global results are some of the best we've had, frankly, in decades. And I think all the hard work around profitability, around portfolio remediation has really started to pay dividends. And for Lloyd's now, it's really about that pivot towards commercial strategies, towards the benefits, the fun stuff that comes out of the hard work, right? Around promotion of commercial strategies, like using Lloyd's as a multinational platform. Captives at Lloyd's, and what does that look like compared to a traditional captive program, and innovation, right? We love to talk innovation. We've had an enormous amount of success and continue to focus on that. Really trying to invite the best and the brightest minds into Lloyd's to keep a 300-year-old institution fresh and thinking nimbly and considering all of the new technologies and new opportunities that are out there.
So obviously innovation is something this industry needs. It's talked about constantly at the panels. Last night at the opening remarks, your colleague Don Miller made the point about innovating and digitizing and moving something and changing something that's a 30-year-old system in Lloyd's. What do you see when you come from innovation, when you come to look at innovation with Lloyd's, and what Lloyd's is doing to the industry with Lloyd's Lab? How is that helping drive innovation?
Right, so thanks, Pete. I mean, the lab is sort of, I think, the linchpin now of Lloyd's innovation efforts, and you're absolutely right. Don Miller is the champion of the lab, based principally out of London, right in the Lloyd's building, in the London insurance ecosystem. And what it is really our sort of systematic approach to engage with insurtechs, but more than insurtechs, just to engage with people who are really clever, who are really smart, who have built a better mousetrap, built a great data set, built a fantastic tool, even if they don't really know exactly how it's relevant to insurance, but they have an inkling, they have an idea that this is going to be useful. We love that, and we bring them in. The Lloyd's Lab is now just celebrated its 5th anniversary. On average, it does sort of 2 cohorts a year. So I think every 6 months we invite a new group of insurtechs or people in with interesting ideas. Usually, say around 10 to 12 companies at a time, and they get the intense focus of the entire Lloyd's marketplace. They'll get, not just 1 or 2, they get 10, 12, 15 mentors from the brokerages, from the managing agents and syndicates, even people like myself from the corporation. And we will really help them refine whatever it is they're doing to be the most accretive to the insurance business.
So let's talk a little bit about that process. I'm a little bit familiar with it, but in this case, these groups, these cohorts, they come to London, right?
They have traditionally been coming to London. We want to expand that. When we really want this to be global. I think to date, it's been very sort of UK, Europe, and somewhat US focused, which isn't surprising, just given the nature of insurtech and innovation
and market opportunities.
Right.
Let's be honest.
So we're working at globalizing. We're figuring out ways that companies can participate virtually. We've started a whole process now where we're doing regional cohorts, and I'm particularly excited because the 12th cohort that will launch towards the end of this year, we'll start taking formally applications. That's America's focus. That's about Canada, the United States, and Latin America. Really diving into the insurtech and tech space here, right? And I think it's enormously fertile ground.
So are there some of the people who have gone through Lloyd's Lab and all this mentorship and support that have had some success that you can share?
Listen, I mean,
names?
No, of course I can name some names, but let me just, I mean, generally speaking, so, 5 years, we've had about 100 companies, 100 ventures come through the lab, right? They have collectively raised over $1.2 billion US in funding.
Smokes.
95% of them are still ongoing business ventures. More than 70% are still associated with Lloyd's in the market, actively engaged. 25 of them become actual cover holders at Lloyd's. Wow. So when you think about that kind of rate of success compared to many other incubators or platforms, I mean, we're exceptionally proud of that, and we think it's because they dive so deep into Lloyd's that everyone gets to look at them. At the end of it's about a 10-week process. At the end of that, they do a demo day. They present their sort of final revised insurance pitch to the market, and deals get done and there. So Canadian success is Box Insurance, right? Cyber specialty. There's a couple others. We're talking right now to a couple of companies that are very timely thinking about, risk mitigation measures for wildfire, which is an exceptionally important issue, right? I mean, I think Canada is pulling its weight, and we hope that with the Americas focus coming up towards the end of this year and really into spring of next year when the real work will take place, that it'll feature prominently. Because, I mean, we all know in Canada, how we have multiple hubs of some really clever people, right, across the country. Montreal, where we are today, Ontario, Toronto, Waterloo, Kitchener has some exceptional talent, and out west as well, right?
There's a lot of things going on in some regional spaces, and Canada is very odd that way. In that it's a vast country, it's an east-west country in terms of population demographics, and we have very different needs in different sectors of the country.
And we have pockets of expertise, right? I mean, some of those centers are very AI focused.
Yes.
If you think about out west, certainly Alberta innovates. You have, you have energy, manufacturing, agribusiness, and agri-tech, right? And then, in and around the Toronto area, a lot of financial services focus, obviously. So I think it's great. We're going to focus on building resilience in Americas as a theme. And so we're thinking about, companies that have ideas around response to extreme weather, around cat resilience, right, catastrophic events, and secondary perils in particular. And you think about, 2023 has been overland flood, has been wildfire, has been severe convective storms and hail, right? I mean, there isn't a part of Canada that hasn't been hit by that.
Of course.
We want to hear about anyone who has great ideas around any energy transition and how insurance can help support that journey. So a lot of interesting stuff, right? Very excited about what Lloyd's is doing, and particularly about, the Americas getting its turn to really shine on that.
Well, there is a lot of innovation, as you said, and one of the things that I always come back to is that we think with insurance, sometimes innovation, it has to be sort of in our familiar ecosystem. But how you've talked about it is it's things that can help insurance as well.
Absolutely.
It's not literally build out an insurance product. No. And that's the difference I think we have to sort of move from. When we say the term insurtech, we sort of huddle in, but this is a tech or innovation for insurance.
Exactly, right? It's accretive. It's anything that we think reasonably accretive to the insurance industry, the insurance business. If it's about, unique and special data sets and analytics, great, bring it on, right? The industry loves data. And if it's about preventative technologies based on IoT or AI or, whatever the case might be, we want to hear about it, right? We want to take a look at it. We just think that, it's just so beneficial for the traditional industry. And, there's other programs, right? We have an innovation facility at Lloyd's, really focused on product innovation, right? Like the next cyber policy, the next, the next auto policy when it was all horse-drawn carriages and things, right? And that's interesting because, I think people know Lloyd's, syndicates have business plans. They have sort of targets about how much business is supposed to write each year. And if they're introducing an innovative product, they can do another at least 2% on top that doesn't impact their typical underwriting, let's call it, their business as usual. If it doesn't work out well, if the results aren't what everyone hoped, doesn't impact them in terms of our assessment of performance and so on, right? So, 2% doesn't sound like too much, but collectively, when you span that across all of the syndicates, you're over another $1 billion of capacity out of Lloyd's for something that's new.
Exactly.
And so we're still encouraging syndicates to do that more because, I think, particularly in insurance, it's our DNA to be cautious.
Yes.
Right.
We for an industry that manages risk, we're very risk adverse.
Right, and that probably makes sense. Yeah. But we want to try and create within reasonable bounds a safe place, as they say, a safe place to fail. Take your shot at what you think are really good ideas, and we think that more often than not that they'll succeed. But if they don't, that's not going to be the end of the world either.
Yeah. So when you look at NICC this year, we've got a few sessions left this afternoon. We've got tomorrow. And one of the things we also have is InsurTech North that's happening tomorrow. And we have the Wolf Pack and the pitches. Are you going to be there to listen to some of those?
I'm going to listen to some, absolutely. Some of my other duties are going to call me away before the day's fully done. And I've got a bunch of my team based out of Montreal all attending.
Oh, good stuff.
So it doesn't, the burden doesn't just fall on my shoulders. We're all interested in it. We're all sort of reaching out to try and build connections and community. And so, absolutely looking forward to the Wolf Pack. I mean, that's always fun. Those are, I think, in many respects, though, some of the companies that are already fairly well known to the industry, right?
That's
so
true.
we want to kind of beat the bushes a little further afield and see what else is out there.
There you go. Well, for brokers, entities, anyone out there with an idea to help the insurance industry, this is the man and the company to talk to. I won't give you his email address, but to reach out, look up Lloyd's Lab, find how you can get in.
The website, you'll have all the details.
Take a look at it.
And when, in all seriousness, we're always happy and eager to talk to people about what it really means and what's available. And so to circle back, it's good times, relatively speaking, right? Knock on wood for an insurer. But
exactly.
We're real pleased with core performance, and that provides us, with the license to really try and do some other interesting things as well.
And it's nice to have a refreshing review of a year where people are feeling positive about performance, because it hasn't been that great for a while.
Well, we'll bask in the sun because usually it's fleeting, right?
Exactly.
And it'll be a whole other podcast about the clouds on the horizon as well.
Exactly.
But I think the industry, along with our broker partners, along with our customers, has worked hard to get to a good place, and we should all be capitalizing on that, whatever that means to a particular stakeholder. But it's the time to try and stretch.
Absolutely. Well, Marc, thanks for dropping by, sitting down again. Hopefully we can catch up less than a year apart and share some more great stories about what's going on. So thanks again.
Pete, always great to see you. Thank you.
You too.